You're listening to a Roddenberry podcast.
Oh, we're back with more. You know why? Because you're back with more. You're all back with more comments and questions and emails. And, Norman, I mentioned that here on Mission Log Engage, sometimes we'll just answer the general stuff. Sometimes we'll talk about themes, but sometimes we'll talk a little more specifically about an episode or about characters in episodes. And today we're going to answer an email from Brad. And this is about, I'm interested in this because if you're a DS9 fan and you're following along with us, hopefully you are, we're wrapping up Deep Space Nine Season 7, final season, and I've always praised the character growth and character arcs in those shows, and that's something that Brad is commenting on here today. So you want to give this one a read for us, Norm?
Sure, my pleasure. So this is from Brad. Hey guys, I have a couple of thoughts on Dr. Bashir. Is it possible that the Bashir from the early seasons was a combination of immaturity? He was only 26 in Showtime, and trying to push people away lest they find out that A, he was genetically enhanced, and B, he was serving in Starfleet. He adopted a personality that was, while not precisely abrasive, one that made it difficult for people to get close to him. Then, between the growth of his friendships with the crew, especially O'Brien, and entering his 30s, and the fact that his secret came out, left him too mature. What thinks you?
What thinks you? Well, I think. Thank you very much, Brad. This is exactly the kind of thing that really excites me about analyzing TV and popular entertainment, and that is the case where you can have some great ideas when you go into a show. And as we know, Star Trek famously has these very detailed show Bibles that explain the premise and the setting and each of the characters and what the character relationships are. And those take a lot of time and effort. And those are a guide for the writers to be able to craft their stories, right?
Mhm.
But then you have production reality, which is very different from what is the pie in the sky vision that goes on the page at first. And the production reality is that, well, as an actor inhabits a role, it might come across differently from the way it was on the page, for better or for worse. And then as more writers come into the show and as those scripts get batted around, those ideas may take some different turns. And then the audience, like we said, you create a show, you create a project, is no longer yours. It goes out to the audience. It becomes theirs. And you get all their feedback, and you have the blessing of hindsight to be able to go, well, what did we do with this character in the first season, the second season? One of my favorite things about Deep Space Nine, production trivia, is that the whole idea of revealing Dr. Bashir's genetic alteration was a last minute decision. And Alexander Siddig did not like that idea at first because he thought it changed everything about the way he played the role, that he had to play this character as a guy with a secret. But this is one of those great moments where production reality benefited the show in hindsight and as it went forward. It could not be a better confluence of writer, actor, last minute decision that then helps to justify everything that came before. It is its own retcon and done in a really great and entertaining way.
Yeah, I think that when Bashir was revealed to have genetic alterations, in that very moment in time, it snapshots that character, and then it makes you question every single thing that that character did right up until that point. Because, much like your email, Brad, is it possible that he behaved this way because he knew eventually, if his secret was ever revealed, for whatever reason, that this, of course, makes sense, that he played aloof, he played distant, he played a little crass, kept everybody at bay with the way that his personality was, because he needed to keep up that disguise, very much like a superhero's secret identity. In Superman 2, when Clark Kent falls in Niagara Falls in the love suite with Lois Lane and his hand falls into the fire, everything up until that point Lois was on board with him being Clark Kent.
Yeah.
But then everything changed. And then she has to think about every single time that she had that itch in the back of her head saying, is he or isn't he? Well, now he is. So it
Right.
changes the narrative of people's headcanon when that happens. And it's hindsight, like you said, John. It's retconning what you think you know. I think that actually, for Bashir's case, it actually did work.
It did. It worked beautifully. And that is exactly the kind of thing like, with full admittance, even before starting Deep Space Nine on Mission Log, I knew that that was a reveal about Bashir. But I had not seen all of Deep Space Nine up to that point. So I very much wanted to stick to the Mission Log kind of format, the Mission Log pretense, which is we're watching every episode as if they had just been released, as if we're watching them in order that they were released back in the day, without knowing what comes next, because we want to be able to examine the choices, the characters, the stories in the moment. And if we had started back in season 1 saying, wow, Bashir has all these terrible qualities, but don't worry, because 5 seasons from now, we can justify it with this other bit of knowledge that nobody in 1994 knew about, or earlier than, 1991 knew about. That would not have made for a very interesting discussion. And it puts us in a different position from what the writers knew at the time. I'm much more interested in how they arrived at the decisions they did at the time, how they served the characters in the story at the time, and then what are the very clever things they do like this that have that side benefit of justifying so much that came before and making you rethink what came before.
Yeah, I love talking about specific characters. I think this is actually the first email where we've actually discussed, the intricacies of a character. I hope we get a chance for us to read more of these character focused emails, and I think that we will in the future. And if you'd like for us to do that and you would like to see it, so all you can do is make sure that you follow us here at Roddenberry Entertainment. Make sure that you hit your like button for us here on Mission Log Engage. Make sure that you share this out to your friends. Make sure you subscribe to this playlist and to Roddenberry Entertainment for more content. You can always send us your comments at missionlog@roddenberry.com. You can find us on Facebook and Twitter at Mission Log Pod. And remember, we may engage with your comments on air.